the angel no one talks about. There is an angel that almost no one talks about. You will not find his name in the Bible, but you will find him in ancient Jewish writings, in Kabbalistic mysticism, and in some of the most bizarre theological traditions to survive from the Second Temple era. His name is Metatron, and according to the book of 3 Enoch, he used to be Enoch. Yes, that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, the man who walked with God and was taken into heaven without seeing death, the same man quoted in the New Testament, transformed into an angel of fire, given a throne in heaven, and called the Lesser Yahweh. But did that really happen? Could Enoch have become the highest angel in heaven, the one closest to the throne of God? Or is this just mysticism gone too far? Today we are going to explore the mystery of Metatron, what ancient writings actually say, whether any of it lines up with Scripture, and what it means for us as people who, like Enoch, are called to walk with God. Who was Enoch, and what happened to him? Let's start where all of this begins, with Enoch in the Bible. Genesis 5:24 says this, "And Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him." It is one of the strangest, most powerful lines in the Old Testament, and one of the most mysterious out of an entire genealogy filled with men who lived and died. Enoch stands out. He did not die, he was taken. Then, thousands of years later, the New Testament sheds more light. Hebrews 11:5 says, "By faith Enoch was taken away so that he did not see death, and was not found, because God had taken him. For before he was taken, he had this testimony, that he pleased God." That is what we know for sure. Enoch pleased God so much, walked with him so closely, that he was removed from the earth and brought into the presence of God without dying. But that raises a massive question. What happened to him after that? Enter Metatron. This is where 3 Enoch enters the story. Unlike 1 Enoch, which focuses on the Watchers, the flood, and the judgment of angels, 3 Enoch is different. It is a mystical text, likely written between the 5th and 7th century AD, and attributed to a man named Rabbi Ishmael. In this book, Rabbi Ishmael claims to be taken into heaven, where he encounters a glorious angel named Metatron. But Metatron is not just another angel. He tells Rabbi Ishmael that he was once Enoch. Here's what 3 Enoch 4:1 says. "This is the angel, Metatron, who is Enoch son of Jared. After the generation of the flood, he was taken up alive into heaven, and the Holy One made him into a great angel, a prince among the heavenly hosts." According to this mystical account, Enoch is transformed into Metatron. He is given 36 wings and 365 eyes. He is seated next to God. He is called the Lesser Yahweh by the other angels, and he is crowned with light and authority. 3 Enoch 12:5 adds this, "He made for me a throne like the throne of glory, and he spread over me a canopy of glory and placed me in it, and he sat me down upon it." This is no ordinary angelic assignment. This is a transformation from man to archangel, from human to celestial power. But does any of this have a basis in biblical truth, or is this spiritual overreach? Let's go deeper. The theological tension, blasphemy, or mystery? At first glance, the idea of Metatron sounds like blasphemy. How can a man be called Lesser Yahweh? How can a human sit on a throne in heaven? How can angels bow to someone who was once mortal? These are fair questions, and many Christians reject the idea of Metatron outright because of them. But before we dismiss it completely, let's consider this. The Bible does teach that the faithful will be glorified, that those who overcome will rule and reign with Christ. Revelation 3:21, Jesus says, "To him who overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, as I also overcame and sat down with my Father on his throne." 1 Corinthians 6:3. Do you not know that we shall judge angels? And Philippians 3:21 says that Christ will transform our lowly body, that it may be conformed to his glorious body. In other words, transformation is not the problem. Being glorified is not unbiblical. The issue is how far 3 Enoch takes it, by giving Enoch titles and authority that sound dangerously close to divine. And this is where we must use discernment. What the Bible doesn't say. Let's be very clear. The Bible never uses the name Metatron. There is no mention of Enoch becoming an angel, no mention of him ruling heaven, no mention of wings or thrones or titles like Lesser Yahweh. The entire Metatron idea comes from outside Scripture, from mystical Jewish traditions that tried to fill in the gaps of what happened to Enoch, and this was not unusual. In ancient Judaism, people had a deep reverence for Enoch and a deep fascination with angels. Over time, these ideas merged. The Book of Jubilees says Enoch was the first to learn heavenly secrets. The Zohar mentions Metatron as the scribe of heaven. Kabbalistic writings say he guards the tree of life and controls the flow of divine power. But none of this is scriptural, and none of it should be treated as doctrine. So does that mean the story of Metatron is just a myth? Not necessarily, because while the name and details may be mystical, the pattern is biblical. The pattern of transformation. Let's look at the pattern we see in Enoch and how it applies to believers today. Enoch was a man who walked with God. He lived in a corrupt world, pre-flood, violent, perverse, filled with rebellion. And yet he walked with God so closely that God took him. This mirrors the calling of every true believer. Come out from among them and be separate. Be holy, for I am holy. Walk in the Spirit, and you shall not fulfill the lusts of the flesh. And what happens when we walk with God? We are transformed. Romans 8:29 says, "For whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son." 1 John 3:2. Beloved, now we are children of God, and it has not yet been revealed what we shall be, but we know that when he is revealed, we shall be like him. We are not becoming Metatron, but we are becoming glorified. We are not called lesser Yahweh, but we are called heirs with Christ, co-rulers, co-glorified, and spiritually exalted. What does this mean for us? So what do we do with the story of Metatron? We do not treat it as doctrine, we do not preach it as truth, but we can learn from it if we filter it through Scripture. Enoch's transformation may have been exaggerated in mystical writings, but the core idea is biblical, that those who walk with God are not forgotten, that those who please God are preserved, and that those who live for God will one day be transformed, not just spiritually, but eternally. Did Enoch really become Metatron? Probably not, but did he become something glorious? Absolutely. And one day, so will you, if you walk with God like Enoch did. If this video gave you a new perspective on Enoch, angels, or the transformation that awaits the righteous, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And next, in the Enoch series, we are going even deeper. In a future video, we will explore one of the most shocking theories in ancient theology. Was Enoch the origin of the pagan gods? Did stories of Zeus, Hermes, and other so-called deities begin with real beings, like the Watchers and their children? That video is coming soon. Until then, walk in truth, walk in holiness, and like Enoch, walk with God.